Welcome, everybody, to the greatest wrestling podcast in the world. This is the Oversell Podcast. Woo! I am joined by the captain himself and my man Scythe X. We are talking tonight everything about the upcoming Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania storylines, what happened on the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw, what happened on Smackdown. We got storylines out the wazoo, promos out the wazoo. Here we go. Boys, how's everybody doing tonight?
What's popping, homie?
Boys, acknowledge me.
He hits us with the ones, and that's the only finger I'm going to give him.
Just acknowledge me. That's all I'm going to say. I don't have to say anything else.
Oh, man. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitch. Comment in the sections on everything we're talking about. We're about to get into it right now. Let's talk about, real quick, the matches that are confirmed for Elimination Chamber. Right?
Yep.
So let's talk about first the match that no one cares about.
What's up, Brad?
Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley for the 900th time.
I give no shits about that.
Brad, what's going on, brother?
So, I mean, I don't care about any match if it doesn't include Roman Reigns, but that for sure is on the bottom of my list. And I can tell you right now, you know what I can emphatically tell you, boys? That Roman Reigns would beat both of them. So it doesn't matter. How do you feel about that?
Trigon, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, what up, Trigon?
What's up?
Listen, man, at this point, no one wants to see this match. I don't even know why we're wasting space with it at the Chamber. There's plenty of other ways we can go with this, but I don't know. I don't even know if it's worth us even talking about, to be honest with you.
I'm just so over the whole Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley story. Just those two wrestlers in general. It doesn't even matter the story at this point. I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah.
You know what I do like about them? There's not much mic time, right? They're not guys that are going to give you crazy promos, so you got to listen to the trash because you know we don't want to hear either of them on the mic.
I will say that on this past Monday, Brock did throw a pretty good line in one of his promos. Because he was talking about, he goes, you know what happens when I go home, Bobby? Because he gives him the Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
He goes,
I mean, every now and then he drops.
He does, man. Because he goes, I go to bed with my wife, and then 4 or 5 hours later after I'm done, that's when I start thinking about you. I was like, what?
But that's what I'm talking about, though. You understand? You see, you're like Lesnar. Sometimes less is more. We don't want to see you or hear you, and this is why. This is why. This is it.
So besides Bobby and Brock for the 9 billionth time, we have Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea. Mixed tag match. It could be a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of story there with Edge's return, Beth getting knocked out by the concerto by them at Extreme Rules. Great promo, fantastic promo on Monday. Did you guys catch that?
On their part, yeah. On Dom's part, not so much.
No, I mean, Edge ripped apart Judgment Day by himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, are you saying Condom didn't deliver a good promo?
No, Condom shockingly did not deliver a good promo.
Shocking.
It was so shocking to me that this guy's always so good. Condom is always so good on the mic that I was flabbergasted that he didn't deliver a good promo. Like, I just don't understand.
Well, my quick thought, because this is trash, this match also, but my thought is Roman would beat all of them at the same time by himself. So I just go back to saying that I'm glad, this is Edge's swan song, right? I think I think this is last year. I think he's going to have his matches. He's going to face some good talent going through. Finn Balor.
Yeah, he probably retires after Mania.
Yeah, he could. I mean, Finn Balor's an elite talent. He's fighting with his wife, which is pretty dope. Rhea's very worthy of it. Obviously, she's going to fight Charlotte. But if it's not Roman Reigns, I don't give a shit. So next.
I will say the one little detail that they had went on Edge and Beth's entrance was he was grabbing her on the ass, and that's because somebody last week snuck a photo of when they were standing right by the ring from behind them, and his hand was on her ass, and they threw it up on the internet, and they were like exposing Edge and everything like that. He's like, you got me, and he was playing it up on Twitter. So now this week he came out just blatantly smacking her on the ass.
Nice.
I mean, listen, what's the problem? It's his wife. Like,
no, there's no problem at all. There's no problem at all. But that was the thing. He was hammering it up because it's his wife. He's like, because even at one point she looked at him and was like, "Would you stop?" Like,
I mean, hey, listen, he's what, 50 at this point? How old is Edge? He's got to be close, right?
He's got to be close,
yeah.
I
would
mean,
say so.
If the guy's still smacking booty and getting a little action, bro, more power to him. But he ain't Roman Reigns. Next.
All right, that brings us into
I see the theme for tonight.
Yeah,
bro. I am so invested in Roman Reigns' well-being. Next.
Brings us into the chamber matches. We still have to wait to see who the last female is. No, we found out who the last female is. I'm sorry. So the female chamber to find out who faces Bianca at WrestleMania is going to be Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Natalya, and Carmella. That's your 6 for the Elimination Chamber. That's what I said.
You started so strong, bro.
I know.
I had a lot of hopes, and as soon as you said Nikki Cross, Natalya, I started to contemplate playing in traffic. How do you think about it, Scythe?
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why these two chicks are in there. Like Nikki Cross, I mean, Natalya's the most boring female wrestler we have on the roster at this point. She's almost worse than Ronda Rousey. Like almost worse than Ronda Rousey.
That's a hot take. Record it.
You know what I mean? Wow. Like I can't stand her anymore. She's too old. She's too basic. Like the rest of these chicks are doing way more than she's capable of doing, and it shows. Every time she's matched up with them.
She's part of the old diva regime. Like we're way past that. Her time's over.
She sells a lot of T-shirts, man. I still think she does a lot of promotional stuff. So I think she's profitable for WWE on the back end. On the front end, what we have to see is hot garbage. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately,
like nobody was excited for her Rumble appearance, like her coming back. Like it was like the lowest pop in the whole Rumble.
Yeah.
What up, Butters?
Yeah, I do enjoy Carmella's return for this.
Me too.
She won the Fatal 4-Way. I mean, listen, I'm never gonna not want Carmella to be on screen. Let's be honest.
Okay,
very much so.
A little upset Alexa Bliss ain't there, but
Well, speaking of Alexa Bliss, we haven't heard from her since Rumble.
I know. It's strange.
We got to wait to see what happens. Maybe on Friday we'll get some answers. I don't know, but we haven't heard from Alexa Bliss at all since Rumble. So. The fact that she's not in this, we barely heard from Bray. The fact that she's not in this Elimination Chamber match is, I don't get it. Like,
it's wild.
If you replace Nikki Cross with Alexa and Natalya with, I don't know,
with a Rock.
Maybe
I thought you were going to say Roman Reigns in a wig.
Is that where you were going? By the way, listen, if you put Roman Reigns in there, it's must-see TV. I'm in. Can't Roman Reigns identify as a woman that wants
Alexa
to fight in the chamber?
Just freaks out on one of them and takes their cage.
Oh, maybe. What's that Dave Chappelle joke where he's like, if LeBron identified as a female and started playing in the WNBA, he'd score 400 points a game?
Yeah. Hey,
That's like Roman Reigns identifying as a female.
By the way, if Roman Reigns did, his title run would be now till he croaked.
Yeah. So like, but why not push one of these up and coming girls that you have? Man. Like
we talked
Chelsea
about
Green, what's her face? Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, any of them.
I think you and I dove into this a little bit, Zuplex, when we talked about the men's elimination chamber. So we were talking, we were so pumped how it started, right? We saw guys that we felt were really going to balance each other. And I think the women, same thing. You have like these elite, and at the end of the day, there has to be a wild card in there. And I think Natalya at any moment in time could technically make a run at a belt. And I think you have to have a couple people that just get their ass kicked or just bigger. They can't all be the same. So I think for WWE, it's like you throw a Nikki Cross in there and a Natalya, and it's like, well, you never know, right? Like, could WWE go so off the wall, and then you still have the wrestlers you want to see? You know, listen, Raquel Rodriguez, for better or worse, I like to watch her wrestle. I want to see more of her to
absolutely.
Get
she had a great Rumble appearance.
She has talent.
Yeah. So I want to see that. Liv Morgan, say less. You know, Carmella coming back. If for nothing else, I'll just drool. Right.
Asuka with the new character
with the new thing. Always a threat.
Which her match on Monday, you saw that more vicious side doing the buzzsaw kicks, really, really diving into that vicious Asuka side. So I think the character change for her is going to be really good. I like who do you want to see face Bianca at WrestleMania? I think that's the better question, right? Out of these six,
I'm going to go Liv. Her, I mean, Rhea Ripley's already getting her shot, but she was the next one in that Rumble that really put on a clinic, and I think she deserves a shot at it.
So, I think deserving-wise, I'm on board with you, Scythe. Deserving, no doubt. Who I want to see, because I think the match will be good based on Bianca's size and athleticism, Raquel Rodriguez. I think that she's strong enough and big enough, and it's believable, right? That, like, you know, Bianca's so dominant, and you're like, man, and that was our thing with Charlotte Flair, right? Like, you can't have some yo-yo in there with Charlotte. She just dominates. So it makes sense when they have a Rhea Ripley, because you're like, oh shit, this is two titans. And with Raquel Rodriguez, she's big, she's athletic, she can like match up toe to toe. And if she won, you're like, oh, they're going to give a new superstar an opportunity. But if she lost, you're like, well, it's probably going to be a great fight. So I think I could see Raquel Rodriguez, but I think Liv deserves it.
Yeah, I could see the top three of Raquel, Oscar, Liv going to WrestleMania with Bianca. And I think any one of those three is going to put on a stellar match with Bianca. Liv's proven time and time again that she does great work, especially when she's against bigger. You know, her matches with Charlotte were amazing. Her matches with Ronda were amazing. I mean, she made Ronda look good, which is very hard to do.
Yep.
You know, it's impossible. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible. Very few women have made Ronda look good. Charlotte's one of them. Like, Liv's one of them. Alexa's one of them.
Brad says Rodriguez versus Bianca would be one hell of a match.
I agree. I think that's my pick also, is I want to see Raquel Rodriguez versus Bianca Belair. I think that's going to be the best match for Mania, especially for a Mania level caliber. That's the match you want to see. But I agree with you, Fred. Liv deserves it. Liv definitely deserves it. That brings us to the men's side. This match is going to it's got to steal the show, right? Like, this match is loaded for an elimination chamber for the U.S. title.
Can you please give me credit before you go down the names?
I'm
okay.
I was going to.
I just want to make sure that we get this in the fucking camera. Go ahead, bro.
I will say, so obviously Austin Theory, because he's the U.S. champ. Seth Rollins, which is amazing as itself. Johnny Gargano, who always puts on a hell of a show. The newcomer Bronson Reed, who's going to be a force in that cage. Can't wait to see what he's able to do in there.
Gotta have it. Yep.
And then the Damian Priest from the Judgment Day. Right. And the dark horse that was called right before this by the man himself, the captain, Montez Ford.
We were live.
We all agreed at the time, too. That's a great pick. That would be fucking awesome to see Montez Ford in an Elimination Chamber match. And I'm stoked for this now. I'm really, really excited for this match.
Yeah, it should be exciting. John, I'll let you go so you can bask in your glory.
I mean, listen, boys. First and foremost, it's not Roman Reigns, but with that being said, I'm jacked up for this in many ways. That weekend we put in hours, boys. Right? We were. Absolutely. I mean, we put in the man hours. And when we got to that Monday and we were talking about that setup, we went through what we would love to see. We went through all the possibilities. We ran down it. Each of us were kind of saying what we'd like, whatever. And I said, guys, because I was looking down the list of people from the Rumble who eliminated people, whatever. And I said, Montez Ford, because we had Rollins, we had Theory, and we had Gargano. And I was like, man, Montez Ford would be so dope in this match. I'm like, he's a guy that deserves a push. And Zuplex, obviously, I mean, common sense. You're like, it's not going to happen. He's tagged up. Like, it makes sense, right? I'm like, yeah, I know it sucks, dude, but that's the guy.
No, I said that him and Dawkins both wouldn't make it into the chamber.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. It was almost common sense. I was like, I agree. I mean, there was nothing. Listen, I love to argue every single point. There was nothing I could say to it. I was like, yeah, I know. But it was just, you have those guys together, those four. And then we were trying to figure out how Bronson Reed, we were trying to figure out how Damian Priest, but like in anything else, you always have to, you can't have six guys that are going to hang from the top of the cage like monkeys and, throw each other from this side to that side. You have to have some sort of dominant factor in there also, where someone's tossing somebody like a rag doll and someone's slamming somebody on the cage real hard. And those two guys definitely offer that. And they can go at each other too.
Exactly.
So it offers that little bit. And listen, I think we can all agree. Unless they're pushing something for Judgment Day, Damian Priest is out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
He has to be.
And I think the other five, we can see a belt on any of them, no doubt. Do they want to push Gargano a little bit? Do they want to push Bronson Reed a little bit? Do you want to see Montez Ford now as a solo, see what he could do with the hype and the mic work and the new, this is all brand new. Seth Rollins need say no more. And the champion himself, Cena 2.0. So, it's definitely, I think honestly, I think that match is going to deliver on every level.
Yeah, I'm pure match standpoint. I think this is going to be the match of the night. You know what I mean? On storyline, I think it's the main. I think the match we're about to talk about is the one. But as far as pure match level, this thing is going to be a sight to see.
Yeah, it's going to be dynamite.
Who do you think comes out with it on this? It's hard to tell.
Montez Ford.
You think so?
That'd be fire. Yes. That would be a nice twist, and it would be enjoyable to see. The Seth Rollins train right now, I think, is just nonstop, and I feel like he takes it.
Yeah, listen, Seth Rollins, to me, it doesn't matter he wins it or not. He's on it. He's so over, bro. The chants are still going on in the stadium.
He doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need a belt.
He doesn't, but I could see him making the run and then allowing somebody else to get a push going after him.
I think if Montez Ford takes it in a match like this with the guy of Rollins' caliber, because he's really the only like superstar in that ring, right? All the other guys like up and coming guys, whatever the case is. Listen, like Gargano's been around a while, but he's nowhere near Seth Rollins. These are all new guys. If Montez Ford wins this match like this, first of all, it lets Seth Rollins sneak out without like because if Theory beats Rollins or Rollins beats him, you still have to carry this out. And we know we're getting Logan Paul. So we have to get away from this, right? So that's out. You can have Theory go back and forth with Montez Ford. Maybe that's a WrestleMania moment for them. Maybe that's where that match climax. And I can't see Gargano getting that push right now. He doesn't have that. Yet. Yeah, so he doesn't have that like get going. And Bronson Reed is just in. And like I said, Damian, unless they're doing a Judgment Day thing where like the Judgment Day is starting to get some gold around them, I cannot see Damian Priest where they start with this. It's odd to me.
I really hope not.
Yeah, there's nothing, no mic work. There's no hype. There's no nothing. He's not even like a heel in his faction. He's just a nothing. So
yeah.
So like,
and he had a terrible promo. Couldn't even remember lines.
Mumbling his words. Completely forgot what he was saying. Edge tore him apart.
I'll tell you what. If Dominic Mysterio was in there, I could see, even though he's awful, I can see them giving him the belt because they're trying to make him the ultimate villain, right? Yeah. So you can see it. I just can't even see a Damian Priest storyline. It just eludes me, and I think especially the three of us, I think our imaginations have run pretty wild these last few weeks, and I think we've drawn up every conceivable storyline that we could possibly think of. And Damian Priest is not in any of those. Not in any of those multiverses we've been through.
Right.
So, I think we've been through many, and he's not involved in any of them. So I think Montez Ford wins, man. You heard it here.
What do you think, Fred?
I would love for that. Like I said, I still think it's going to be Rollins.
All right, I'm gonna throw a curveball your guys' way. I think Rollins is the first one out.
I could see it. There's a lot of star
I think
power
Rollins. Rollins is the first one out. I think he goes on to face Logan Paul at WrestleMania. He's completely out of the title picture at that point. I think it comes down to Montez Ford and Theory, and I think Theory pulls it out.
Okay.
And then we get Montez Ford and Theory at Mania in a singles match for the title. I don't think Montez leaves Chamber as the champion. I do think he gets a championship within the next like two events.
I tell you, let me tell you, you imagine the two of them at the end, you understand how nuts, based on how much energy Montez Ford brings and how much they hate Theory at this point, how nuts that place would go if Montez Ford won that belt.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But think about how much more nuts that would be at Mania.
True.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, it's a great.
You know what I mean?
It's a great point.
Yeah. So I think at Chamber, I think Theory pulls it out. I think Seth gets the early knockout, or maybe not first, but early enough where he's kind of out of the title picture a little bit and can go on to face Logan Paul. Because I'll be honest with you, I want to see Seth versus Logan Paul at Mania now. After seeing what Logan Paul's willing to do in the ring and how much of a maniac this kid is, like I want to see what he could do with Seth Rollins.
He's must see TV at this point. Like there's no way around it. But what makes you think that Rollins is the guy that Logan's gonna wrestle?
Because Logan threw him out at the Royal Rumble, and they've been going back and forth talking a little smack. Logan was talking smack on his podcast a little bit. I think he shows up at Monday night between.
So there's already like drama happening between them.
Yeah, a little bit. Logan had Cody Rhodes on his podcast and was basically talking about how he kept bringing it up. He's like, and I threw out Seth Rollins, and kind of starting the wheels to turn a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
That makes sense.
The fact of the matter is this: whether or not you like him or hate him, Paul is must-see TV in every aspect. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
You listen to him. He has people on his show. He's a clown. But, man, I tell you guys all the time, he's a genius. And he really is a true athlete. Like, it's wild to say this, but the guy's an athlete. He stepped in a WWE ring where, let's be honest with you, man, we've seen how many hundreds of people have we seen fail at this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy actually, like, succeeded. And
he's not just like a gimmick.
Yeah.
He's crushing it.
And that's what we all thought. We're all like, come on, bro. You really gonna bring like, come on, dude, you know? And it's his desire to be great and his willingness to throw his body into reckless abandonment. It doesn't matter. And he's just like, dude, for the star power, it's like his drug. He just wants to be the guy. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So he can talk about it on his podcast. And you know, his moment, his WrestleMania moment, what he did. I threw out Rollins. I faced Roman Reigns. It's like, that's what he's hungry for. And it's kind of dope because it's like you're getting something so edgy that you're like, what is this guy going to do next, man? And if he faces Rollins, I mean, we've seen him jump from the top turnbuckle to a table outside the ring in his first match. We've seen him jump rope to rope and just collide with Ricochet.
The most insane thing we've ever seen.
We've seen it all. So like you're almost like at the boys status with the show.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck could we possibly see next? Like this, there's no way something else crazier happens now. And then the next episode comes and you're on your couch and you're like,
Did that just happen?
And that's what we did that's what we did at the Rumble. Well, like it was almost, by the way, it was such a dumb spot. It was fucking epic. Two guys just jumped at each other in midair to collide. It wasn't like a crazy hurricane run off the top rope or power. They just
flying clotheslines
at each other. And we were like, that was
like a car crash.
It was carnage, you know.
Yeah,
so,
it was a car crash.
So yeah,
car
crash. You know? Yeah.
Brad says, "Does Logan Paul screw Seth somehow during the chamber match?"
I mean, it's hard. It's a possibility, but it's hard in a chamber match because everything's so enclosed. Like it's
the only thing you can do is cause a distraction, and then he drops his guard and gets pinned or something.
It'd be hard otherwise.
Could you see like Seth Rollins, you know, he's by the edge and Logan Paul pops up and like handcuffs his leg to the cage or something. You know what I mean? Like something so he can't move, he can't do anything, and then someone, you know, hits him while he's out there, hits him up against the fence and pins him, and Rollins is out, you know, and then you see him like, you know, go at it in the back room or something. And you know what happens? Logan Paul goes back in his podcast. See what I did at Elimination Chamber? You see, that's all me, right? And
see, that's the thing about his podcast too. He's see, this is what I like about the kid. He's bought all in, right? Like he's using KFAB, he's using his podcast to push the storyline, right?
Yep.
And
never dropping character.
He's never dropping character. He's all in with it, even when he's talking, you know, behind the scenes stuff with Cody. Like, did you hear what he said? Roman said about him?
No.
So his boy George or whatever was like, hey Roman, how's it going? You know, what'd you think of Logan out there tonight? He goes, that boy's gonna learn to tuck his chin one day, and just kept it moving. Like, because when he collided with Ricochet and landed, he smacked his head because he didn't tuck his chin. And like all the wrestlers were in the back were like, dude, you really got to tuck your chin. And he was just laughing about it. He's like, I know, like I just didn't tuck my chin. Like,
I know, but that's so organic.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
exactly.
You know, the fact is he's so new to the business and he's so enthralled in exactly what he's doing. he's not a consummate professional. He doesn't know I'm going to jump, I'm going to tuck my chin, I'm going to talk to each other in a spot. I'm just going to
had years of training.
Yeah, I'm going to go balls deep and figure it out after I'm dead. Like it's cool. It's cool, man.
It is.
It's really fucking cool.
And they got them, and they're using them smart. They don't have them like lifting guys up and power bombing guys or doing anything that's going to hurt anybody else, right? Like worst comes to worst, he hurts himself. If he does that, that's on him. You know what I mean? Yeah. As long as he doesn't hurt anybody else, and he looks great out there. So I love it. But I think that's my prediction for Chamber. And now the main event is going to be the Undisputed Championship. What happened?
Real quick, Butters says Logan Paul is putting in the work. Why not get him in Mania again? I would like to see him versus Ricochet.
Yeah, I mean, him versus Ricochet would be kind of cool, but I'll be honest. Ricochet and Strowman are about to go on a title run with the tag titles.
Agreed.
Yeah,
this is
so I love. By the way,
going to be the
I
new
love
version
that.
of Team Hell No. Let's do it, bro.
You ain't kidding. Yep. Before we get into that, because we're going to get into that in a little bit. Undisputed Championship, Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, the big one. Now, we've talked about it. We're all kind of in agreement. There's no way that Sami walks out of this match the champion because it's for both belts.
Correct, because it says undisputed.
You know, it's for both belts. I don't see them taking both belts off of Roman before Mania.
There's no way you have Cody going against Sami for both belts.
No.
I can't see that at all.
No.
Especially after the fucking promo that we just got from Heyman and Cody.
No.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And talking about Roman Reigns and talking about how Roman Reigns was the son he wanted.
That's
no shot.
Promo of the year right there.
Yeah.
That promo was dynamite.
Low key.
Dynamite.
It was weird how it got there. You know, they were like giving each other how much they loved and admired each other, and their dad respected and it's like, and then all of a sudden, you know, Paul Heyman does what Paul Heyman does, you know, and he really, and you're like, man, Paul Heyman's being a nice guy in this thing, and then bang, he fucking kicks you right in the dick, and you're like, damn,
yeah. I truly believe that was genuine emotion, though.
Well, listen, I think it's an easy. I think it's an easy. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like it's an easy way to get true emotion because, like, when you talk about a loved one that's passed, and you talk about the accolades, and you talk about real life stuff where Cody was bringing up how like Paul Heyman gave his dad a job and gave him an opportunity and paid him money, and the family had no jobs and he thanked him. It's like, that's an easy way to bring out true raw emotion.
Yeah.
I think any of us right now,
and that story's true. Like that's the thing.
I think any of us right now could talk about somebody in our family or something that means a lot to us, and we can get emotional. Right. So I think that was probably like the perfect way to show how far this goes, because they're, you know, the royalty aspect that Cody brought up last week, I thought was great. I thought it really brought in like the bloodline and then his family heritage inside of WWE. And now going back to where he was broke, and now we're tying in Paul Heyman too. So it's not just Roman, the whole thing, right? His family, Reigns, Heyman, all of it means something to Reigns.
Dusty trained Roman at NXT. Yep. Like
that was wild.
And everybody knows what Dusty meant to NXT. Like Dusty and Hunter built NXT.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So like there's a reason why their tag tournament is called the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Like it's because of Dusty. Like all of these talent, like Heyman was not kidding. All the talent that we see in the WWE right now is the top end guys are all trained by Dusty in one way or another. So Dusty meant more to the wrestling business than I think anybody ever gives him credit for. Because he was the son of the plumber, and he was the American dream, and he was all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, behind the scenes, Dusty really did that thing. Like he really bolstered new talent, came up with these ideas for these guys. Like created an entire program that went on to be its own brand, him and Hunter. So that means the world to Cody, and that's real emotion we saw in that ring.
Can you name another? This just to show how great Dusty Rhodes was. This says it all for me. And maybe you guys will be able to be quick, or maybe you'll be like, damn, I didn't think about it this way. How many greats can stay in their business for as long as they do with never being the guy? Never touching a heavyweight title. He was always relevant and never had the belt. All of the guys that we always talk about were always a champion at some point. Go back in history. No matter, it doesn't matter. Whether it was small or large, their run, there was something to them because they were like, yeah, you remember that time they were champion? Dusty Rhodes was never a champion of that caliber, right? Of that caliber.
Yeah.
And
well, he's never heavyweight champion. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I've never heavyweight champion. So, he was in a kind of whatever. He had all the belts, but he remained so important to the industry and never had to be the guy. Incredible, dude. It just says everything about him, man. It's like you don't get that. Guys have to be relevant when they're the guy, and there's a run, and people get to know him, and Hogan, and it doesn't even matter. Even the villains, Yokozuna, dude, it doesn't matter. The Iron Sheik, all these guys had a story. Iron Sheik would never be relevant to the business if he wasn't the villain with the belt.
Yeah. No, you're right. He would have wound up like the Mountie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe worse. Maybe worse.
Like IRS. You know what I mean? Like he would have wound up like one of these guys that just that was just a villain, just like a random ass villain if he didn't have the belt. Jake the Snake is another one. And let's not forget Kurt Hennig. Yeah. I mean, like, listen, Jake the Snake, definitely Jake the Snake. But Kurt Hennig, I mean, as much as he's Mr. Perfect and everything like that, he wasn't around for that long. And I don't think he had the staying power that Jake or Dusty or even Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon never held the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Jake the Snake, let's be serious. First of all, Kurt Hennig never had runs and storylines. Jake the Snake had epic stories with Macho Man Randy Savage. He was involved, right? Yeah. He was in it. You remember when the snake came out, the snake bites Macho Man, stuck on the ropes, the whole thing. I mean, bro, Jake the Snake was heavily involved, but that goes to show his greatness. It's a great call, Butter. And that's the thing. Dusty was involved with mega talent and never had to win. Jake the Snake was involved with mega talent and never had to win, right? But Razor Ramon. But would Macho Man have been great without the belt, right? At some point, would Macho Man have been that prestigious? I don't know. He did a lot of work with Hogan, but he won the belt at some point. I don't know.
Macho Man. I don't think Macho Man ever had to hold because he was one of the best intercontinental champions of all time, right? Like he never really had to hold I think he could have been the guy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm naming people who were going through like could they have done it? But like these are guys that are transcendent. So it's dope, man. I'm glad they paid a lot of homage to him. Not only Heyman, Cody, the WWE's been doing it last couple weeks with the storylines and stuff.
Yeah.
Really happy to see it. And honestly, I think we're going to see a lot more of it, dude, because I think that there's so many people who are yearning for past wrestling storylines and past wrestling I don't know what the word is, but like we want it again. We always want to go back, like nostalgia, past wrestling nostalgia.
It's funny you mentioned that. I got something to bring up about that.
It's like when we see, that's why WWE is notoriously known for bringing back all these guys that are 60, 65, because we know we're not going to get anything from them. But shit, bro, you get to see him in the ring. You're like, man, you remember that dude? Like, this is so dope. And that's why this going down this storyline, we sit here now talking to each other and we're like, man, that was a good time. That was Dusty. Dusty was great, dude.
Dusty's the man, bro.
Dusty was
Dusty's the
great.
man, but he's so overlooked for his contribution outside of the ring. You know what I mean? And that's really what his legacy has become now. Like in the modern era, his legacy isn't the polka dot singlet with the American dream and all that stuff. His legacy really is what he did for these kids coming up and how he grew an entire generation of wrestlers. Every one of these kids, when they talk about like who they thank and who their mentors were and everything, Dusty's the first one out of their mouth. Ambrose, Rollins, Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, all of them couldn't be there without Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty Rhodes is probably, and this is something that if you don't know wrestling, this is something that a lot of people don't know, is the women's revolution doesn't happen without Dusty Rhodes. Because Dusty's the one that said that they could do it. They could main event. They can have their own Royal Rumble. They can have their own cage matches. He was the one booking that stuff, man. So
many female superstars have been very vocal about it too.
Yeah,
many you've seen come out. Sasha Banks. These women come out thanking him.
Bayley.
Many. Yep, Bailey. Many
Becky,
have said it's because of
Charlotte.
You. Yep. No doubt. I mean, listen, bro. Dusty Rhodes ain't Roman Reigns. I mean, we know that.
But, way to reel it back in.
You know,
yeah,
I don't
reel it back in.
I don't want to shed. I don't want to shed a tear for something that doesn't deserve a tear. But I'm just saying that Roman Reigns
until Roman trains an entire generation of wrestlers, kick rocks. Acknowledge this.
First of all, you better watch your fucking mouth. That's number one. Okay, you never talk about a tribal chief like that. Number two, the fact is Dusty Rhodes could never go on a run like this. So as far as I'm concerned, thank you. Number one. Move on, my friend.
Well, speaking of the run coming to an end, so now we've all kind of acknowledged that Sammy's not walking out of there with the titles.
Thank
God.
God.
Does Jay show up? He didn't show up on Monday. Didn't show up on SmackDown. Does Jay show up, and does Jay interfere on behalf of Roman or on behalf of Sammy?
Scythe?
It's probably on behalf of Sammy. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense what he did at the Rumble. Him now siding with Roman all of a sudden after, sending him straight to voicemail for the past 2 weeks. It would negate all of that. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
So first and foremost, you guys hear the news that if Jay does not show up for his match, Solo Sikoa is the fill-in tag team partner.
Yes. They're using the Freebird rules. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's dope. Number two, I think that Jay comes in there. I think it's a distraction. I don't really know which way, but the match ends in a disqualification where Roman Reigns will win the match, and people will hate Roman even more. And it's another.
Well, Roman win the match or just keep the belt.
Yeah, you can have Sammy win the match on a DQ.
On a DQ.
He could. I just feel like there's another Montreal screw job coming here.
Okay.
And I can see Roman winning because of it, and people going nuts because they're pissed that he doesn't win the belts because of it. And Roman kind of gets away and says, like, you couldn't, Sammy never beat me. You're a guy that, I'm still and like it carries the storyline over. And I happen to think that because it's a Montreal Screwjob 2.0, it leaves the door open for Sammy to have his WrestleMania moment against Reigns. He gets revenge at Mania, and Roman loses both belts to Cody and to Sammy, and Sammy finally, like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, he gets his moment, right? The true underdog. Cody gets his moment, the Rhodes family finally gets the heavyweight championship, and that's where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good theory.
Definitely possible.
It's definitely possible.
I know.
I definitely
think
agree
part of
with.
the bloodline.
I've said it previously. Also, I definitely agree with that. You're gonna have Roman probably main event both WrestleMania nights.
Correct.
I
He
think
should.
that's just what's in the cards.
I think he should. He needs to.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
should also. Yeah.
You don't have a guy with a title run 900 days and not main event both. It would be a joke.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a main event both nights. There's a reason you have WrestleMania on both nights anyway, so you might as well do it.
There's no
Yep.
and by the way, there's not a wrestler in the world, men or female, that will tell you any different. There's every single person, no matter what, recognizes right now that the reign Roman Reigns is on transcends every wrestling company, everything that they're doing right now, the TV, the storyline, the prestigious run. It's all on him, and I think it deserves it. If there's either night without him there at the end of the night, it's an injustice. Quite frankly, I'm riding.
I agree with Facebook user. I don't think we see or hear from Jay until Elimination Chamber. I agree with that. I think it's going to be Solo and Jimmy on SmackDown defending against Ricochet and Strowman, and I think they drop the belts to Ricochet and Strowman on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think they definitely lose on SmackDown. I don't know, man. I still feel like Jay's going to show up. He's going to show up and walk away. That's what I think he's going to do.
He'll show up and he's still like in a lot of turmoil and just leaves.
Yeah, he lays his half of the belt down saying, I'm not defending it, and walks away, and then Solo has to step in.
Yeah, and listen, Brad, I don't think we see another title run like this in our lifetime either. I don't. Actually, Zuplex disagrees with me on this. He's said many a times that he thinks you think differently, Zuplex. You said you think there's another title run. You didn't say who, but you said you think you'll see another one. I don't think so.
I mean, I think at some point there could be a title run of this magnitude that goes on for. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who it would be right now. Of course. It may not even be anybody necessarily right now either. But no one ever thought that this title run would happen. So it's like, why couldn't there be another one at some point?
But there's storylines, right? You have to have somebody with a storyline. So somebody with a family history. So there's one guy that comes to mind. I don't know if you would agree.
I mean, I think Cody goes on for like a year run. I don't know if he goes on for.
I'm not thinking him. I'm not thinking him. I'm thinking
who's that?
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker
is the Steiner family background. I think he's wrestling royalty. I think he could come in, and by the way, he can talk. He can have feuds. See, people don't understand. The Steiner brothers had feuds with a lot of tag teams that have a lot of kids in WWE, and I think there's many storylines that could take place with Braun Breaker. And Braun Breaker's got the look, he's got the dynamic. He's a great wrestler in the ring. He's big. He's your stereotypical.
He's good on the mic.
He's good on the mic. He's your stereotypical captain, bulky wrestler that I love, old school. And I'm telling you, bro.
I mean, I'm a huge Braun Breaker fan also. So I fully expect Braun Breaker to debut Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.
He ain't better than Roman, but I like him.
But he could be. He might be.
He could be.
I'm tired of this fucking shit you keep talking
He
about.
could be, man. I'm telling you. You called it. You called it yourself. I didn't even call this one. You called
it. Because I know they're going to screw Roman and take the belts away from him. So if I got to watch something else, I'd rather watch him. They're going to screw Roman. They're going to screw the chief, the tribal chief. It's a joke. He should
I'll tell you right now,
belts until he dies.
Braun's been feuding with Grayson Waller on NXT. Also, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Grayson Waller, he's another guy that can be brought up to the main roster like immediately. They're both ready. I fully expect at least Braun Breaker to be on Monday Night Raw the Monday after WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Getting into that goes back to our nostalgia thing, right? That we were talking about earlier. the Braun Breaker family history, Cody Rhodes family history, Roman Reigns family history.
I love it.
So speaking of nostalgia, Becky Lynch and Bayley had a cage match on Monday Night Raw, and for no reason whatsoever, Lita came out to save the day.
Wait, I didn't even see the match. So what happened during this now? Because first of all, don't make me throw my dinner up. What happened here?
There was a cage match. Becky versus Bayley. It was a pretty good cage match. I mean, the match
was.
Damage Control did their Damage Control shit where they started interfering.
Sure.
And to come out and aid Becky Lynch was Lita.
Wait, Hardy Boys Lita?
Hardy Boys, Attitude Era, Lita came
out
of
nowhere.
Her
music came on, bro.
No one knows why.
I'm listening. I'm like, is that Lita's music? I was so confused, and all of a sudden she comes strutting out from the back. Like,
the fuck is Lita doing?
What is she doing? And
takes out Damage Control.
She tried to climb the cage and then like almost fell, and I think she like botched a move. Dude, it was a disaster. It was so not needed and weird that she even came out there.
But this gives me a theory. This gives me a theory.
Go ahead. I gotta hear this. I'm lost. Go ahead.
Becky needs backup against Bayley and Damage Control. WrestleMania is coming. The last couple WrestleManias, we've had legends come back from matches. What if it's Becky and Trish and Lita versus all three members of Damage Control at Mania?
Oh God!
What's the backstory?
Can we stretch this butthole out any further? I mean, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know,
dude.
I don't know.
I mean, bro, what?
Brad goes, not gonna lie, I was just as confused as the whole universe. Everybody was confused.
Why don't we just put every name in a hat and just pick one out and just have them team up with Becky?
Listen,
also.
I completely agree.
Just as random.
This whole storyline was completely shoehorned together. Because first off, we were supposed to have this cage match 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dude, this is such a typical Vince McMahon thing. Don't you agree with that? WrestleMania is coming around. Throw in some bullshit fucking storyline that doesn't make sense with some wrestler from back in the day that comes back with no storyline whatsoever. It's like we just want to, bro. This doesn't feel like H. I mean, I'm sorry, dude, but this to me is like this is not even necessary. There's nothing here to it.
So
is this clapback for them catching so much shit over Raw 30 and not debuting any female legends?
Okay, maybe. But now maybe, listen, I'll tell you what, out of everything you said, that makes the most fucking sense.
I mean, I'm grasping the straws myself here. You know what I mean? Because I was just confused by everybody else.
I think what you grasped at made sense. It just like bro, think about what we had to get to get there.
Yeah.
So we're like, this happened. Maybe this happens. Maybe this. Oh yeah. You remember Raw 30 where they didn't debut any female legends? Oh yeah. Cool. Let's do that. Like, what? This is a very, just put Roman Reigns in a match.
He might as well have came out to help Becky. That would have been just as confusing.
Listen, I'll tell you, if you put Roman in there, if you build it, they will come. I'm just saying. Roman should be in every match on both nights. Thank you.
That would be hilarious. That would actually be hilarious.
Thank you. Every match. Bro. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just a guy. That's all. I'm just a guy who's throwing it out there into the universe.
I respect it.
No problem. That's all.
So that's my theory on the Lita thing. I can't come up with anything else. I'm assuming it's leading towards Lita and Trish with Becky versus Damage Control. We'll see what happens on Monday night. Maybe they'll give us some answers to why this happens.
Your theory was correct. Let's move on. Good call, Suplex. Good job.
I'll take your word for it.
We're all in on it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. SmackDown storylines. Really, all we have is we have Braun and Ricochet versus the Usos, which we all kind of agree that they're going to drop the belts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they need to.
They kind of need to at this point. And then other than that, there's really nothing else going on SmackDown. Like nothing happens on the show. I watched SmackDown last week and I was just like, there was 3 matches, nothing like
because
qualifiers for Elimination Chamber.
SmackDown has no time.
They have 2 hours,
like 3 matches
hours.
that take up 45 minutes, and then they shoe in 35 minutes of Roman's bloodline.
It's a problem. It's a problem right now. Maybe you guys don't feel this way at all. Maybe it's just me. There's a few storylines that are so high up that it's like we're very let down by everything else, right? Because, listen, the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, great. The Elimination Chamber stuff, great. And after that, we're sort of like, I firmly believe it's all fillers. I love the Braun Strowman Ricochet tag team. I think it's dope. I think they're going to be very good.
I was very shocked they won the tournament because I thought they were going to give the push to Imperium.
I called that, man.
It was a good call. It was a good call. I really didn't think that they were going to give the push to them. I thought they were going to give the push to Imperium. So you bolster Gunther up a little bit. You know what I mean? But great call, Fred. Like, because I did not see that one coming.
I think now that
they're fun to watch, man. I'm a fan.
Yeah, they're very hell no.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that it's I think the Imperium thing. I think it's actually, I think them losing actually boosts up Gunther by default because it shows how dominant he is versus the faction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it actually like. It maybe brings them down, and it's almost like they're holding him down. He's got all the gold; they can't catch up. And at some point, he gets that steady push by himself. So I think it's great, dude. Listen, Ricochet's so deserving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, he's fun to watch. He's been like that for a minute. Braun Strowman, even when Braun Strowman was over, this company refused to give him the belt. When he finally learned how to talk on the mic, they screwed him. It was like, and then the pandemic happened and he didn't have any fans. When he finally got over, there was nobody really to like push him when he was in an arena. So it's such a different, I'm just happy for them both, dude. I really am. I'm happy for them both. And I think they deserve the tag team titles and I'm sure they'll get them.
I'm sure they're going to get them. I got to mention something here because One Shot's very upset at us. We didn't notice his comments. He said Jay isn't showing up for the Bloodline. The man has PTSD, and I think Sammy's showing that he had enough and hitting Roman showed Jay he doesn't have to put up with it. Jay reminds Jimmy what happened before the Bloodline, and Paul Heyman leaves Roman after Roman self-destructs and goes to Cody, bringing that full circle.
Well, I can tell you One Shot. Not that we didn't see it. We didn't want to read the story on the side of the page. So if we got a little more successful moments about Roman, I would have acknowledged it. You see what I did there? But it seemed like a lot of negative shit. So, yes, if you want to go fuck yourself, you're good to go. We give you permission. And by the way, Roman Reigns, tribal chief, #1. Keep going.
So I don't think that Jay reminds Jimmy of what happened before the Bloodline is going to make a difference. I don't know. I could see Heyman leaving and going to Cody, but I don't know if Cody needs Heyman.
He doesn't. It would be a waste because he's super talented on the mic.
It would be, right? Like,
although you know how I feel, if we can hear Cody's lisp less, we're all in a better place.
We need to get Heyman on all the guys with accents for John.
Yeah,
this way they don't have to talk anymore.
He leaves Roman for Becky. Boom,
the
fixed.
ultimate team up would be Paul Heyman and Becky Lynch. Because if I have to hear her fucking speak ever again, it would be epic because she's great in the ring. But if I have to hear her come out, she sounds like an Irish fucking Kermit the Frog. Like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Like, that's how I
agree with Brad. I don't think Cody will ever be a Heyman guy. And I don't think he needs to be a Heyman guy.
I agree.
Hey, you know what? There's only one real Heyman guy, and it's Brock Lesnar. That's how I feel. And it's because Brock sucks balls on the mic.
Yeah,
so,
I could see him going back.
That's a lot better though. His last few promos have been pretty decent.
Been all right
compared to what he used to give us.
Listen, as long as Brock,
see him going back.
As long as Brock is very limited, he drops a couple lines, he talks in that country boy thing, and he moves it. It's
Listen,
funny.
Bobby.
Listen, Bobby. It's pretty funny, you know. So but if there's going to be like an extensive promo, Lesnar's just got to kick rocks. There's no way you let him talk. It's bad. But it's the same thing. Like Becky gets this mic time, and you're like, I'm shutting the TV off. Someone text me when she's gone. Like it's it. I don't care what she says. I'm out on it. Montez Ford would be the next Heyman guy. That would why though?
He doesn't need Heyman.
So good.
He doesn't need
Heyman.
Dude, Butters. Montez Ford is so good on the mic, bro.
Yeah, Butters, you're way off on that one, bro.
Yeah, like Heyman is for guys that genuinely need to build their confidence on the mic, have good spots, let their wrestling showcase, have them minimal and show their dominance. Montez Ford is a stud on the mic. I could hear him all night.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Paul Heyman would never talk. He would never talk if he was a Montez Ford. And the whole point of Heyman is to do the whole talking.
Exactly. Let's get into WrestleMania.
I see somebody like Gunther being a Heyman guy.
No,
please.
Gunther would never be a Heyman guy though, because he's the ring general. His whole persona is that he doesn't need a Heyman.
I know, but please, bro. Listening to that one, bro, please. Oh, good. His accent, it's awful.
All right, so the only things we have confirmed for Mania so far are Cody versus Roman. Rhea versus Charlotte.
Good match.
And Bianca versus whoever wins the Chamber, right? Those are the only things we have confirmed for Mania.
Yep.
So going into that, they got to find an opponent for Gunther. We have to wait to see what happens at Elimination Chamber to see what happens with the U.S. title, right? So we'll see what storyline develops out of that. I'm assuming we're going to get a U.S. title match at Mania, right?
All the belts. Yeah, we got to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, all the belts should be on the line at Mania. With 2 nights, like, there's no reason why all the belts shouldn't be on the line.
But can we agree? U.S. title. I think let's throw it out there. U.S. title. Theory Montez Ford 1-on-1 for the belt.
It might be a triple threat.
But Montez Ford's in it. Whatever it is, we see Montez Ford.
No, it'll be Theory and Montez Ford, and then maybe they throw in a third guy.
Butters, Butters? Is that, dude? I'm Butters. Please don't trigger me, please, dude. Butters, we've really been on a good page, you and I. I feel like I've been a very big Johnny Butters supporter of the last couple months, dude. You know that I've been building you up. The fact you said Cesaro was a Heyman guy and he knew how to work the mic too I'm not going to start. There's never been a good Cesaro promo in the history of the fucking WWE. I'm not going to start.
Cesaro's never been good on the mic, man. Never.
I'm not going to start.
Cesaro was just impressive in the ring.
Jesus, take the wheel. I can't do it.
What were we talking about?
Who would be a good matchup for Gunther?
I don't know. He doesn't really have any storylines going for him right now, right?
No, they have to develop something within the next few weeks, you know.
Well, maybe with the
Rumble,
the splintering of the bloodline, Solo goes solo and goes after the IC.
To build him up a little bit? Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, that... I mean, listen, Brad said it. Bray's got to fit in somewhere here.
Bray does have to fit in somewhere. I don't think Bray's going to be.
I can see Bray going after one of the bigger titles once they split up.
I mean, he's got to have a WrestleMania moment, no?
Oh no, he's definitely has to have a
WrestleMania,
WrestleMania
true.
moment, but he doesn't need to be for a title though.
Is it another more grueling LA Knight something?
I don't know, because the only thing we got from Bray on SmackDown was a recap of everything that happened at Rumble, and then Bray sitting in a chair,
Yeah,
with
and Howdy
Uncle
doing
Howdy
touching his shoulder.
holding
The
his
creepy
shoulder.
uncle.
Yeah,
The creepy uncle
The
touching
creepy
his
uncle.
shoulder.
Now,
Is there another
interestingly
large
enough-
faction in WWE that I'm missing? Is there another larger
I mean,
faction in WWE?
Judgment Day is the only other one.
With 4, right? That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can have maybe Finn Balor, but I don't know.
I'm thinking McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre.
Where's
solid.
the angle? Where's the angle?
Sheamus-
I like it. Where's the angle?
Sheamus and Gunther had the Clash at the Castle. Like everybody's talking about it might be match of the year, right?
Mhm.
McIntyre and him are tag partners. McIntyre, says like, let me go and try and get this done against Gunther because you couldn't, because they had that like rivalry, but we're best friends, but we fucking hate each other type of thing.
Yes.
So maybe that's an angle. I mean, there's not really much going on with Gunther right now, so I'm trying to.
Do they do a full blown triple threat, bringing McIntyre and Sheamus, who had great matches during the pandemic when there was no fans allowed, with Gunther, and do like a whole international thing, for the IC?
I mean, that'd be interesting, right? That
First of all,
would
it'd be a
be.
phenomenal match.
does
would be.
Shinsuke return?
Maybe a fatal 4-way. I would love that.
You know,
You get Japan, you get Ireland, you get Scotland,
Germany.
you got Germany. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
that could be a cool.
I
thing
don't want to
to
listen
do.
to any of them talk, but I like watching them wrestle. So I'm
Zero promos.
thank you. No, I'm
Just straight
totally.
to the match.
It's I'm all WWE Fatal 4-way, no promos, all of it. Sign me up. I'll watch it.
I mean, we do have to see who Bray's next victim's going to be.
Yeah, it better be a pitch.
We're not
pitch black
getting,
match. Yes.
Brad, we're not getting another pitch black match, but we're gonna.
I don't know
get
if they
a Cinnamon
can because
Toast
it's going to be in an
Crunch
outdoor stadium, isn't it? Mania.
Where's it at?
match. No,
It's at SoFi.
Yeah, that's not outdoors.
No, so
Oh,
far
it's
outdoors.
dome. It's a dome. That's right.
Yeah, it's dome.
Yeah. So I guess they could do a pitch black match, but I don't know if they're
Could
going to do
do
it
it.
for Mania. Mania's big. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, there's got to be something from Bray. There's got to be something from Alexa. We have to
They
figure
have-
out where this Uncle Howdy thing is going.
they have
so-
a Cinnamon Toast Crunch sponsored match coming for Mania. I don't know if you heard that. Because the pitch
I
black
guess-
was sponsored by Mountain Dew, so who knows what the
So
cereal
so
one
you're-
is.
So you're telling me that Alexa Bliss will be in some sort of milk with cinnamon toast crunch in there?
No, it'll probably be the Miz and Dexter Loomis.
And I
Yeah.
have to eat through it all to find Alexis.
What about
And
Dexter going after IC, going after Gunther?
I
He's-
mean,
come
I
on.
don't know. I don't
First
know.
of
I like
all,
Dexter
I'm-
Loomis,
He's
but I don't know
just-
if that's
he's
the
just.
move.
I'm
I know,
still
but
telling
he's
you,
just such a
they're gonna
creep.
find
He
a
can
dead
do it.
body somewhere, and he's responsible. Okay,
Yeah.
you heard it here.
That
I'm
hatchet
telling you.
move was wild. So now here's the other thing. JBL split from Baron Corbin.
Is that a story? Did we give a fuck about that? We talking
Not
about
really, but I figured
Okay,
we mentioned it.
that? Okay, cool. Next. Yeah.
So
it's not, that's
the
not-
tag
that's not even a
titles
thing.
now. So
Yes.
if Ricochet and Strowman take the tag titles off of the Usos, right?
Mhm.
It's only for the SmackDown titles.
Right.
So they'll still have the Raw titles. So who's next up to face the Usos? I'm assuming at WrestleMania
Gotta
for the
be.
Raw titles.
Yep.
You know who it's going to be?
Who?
Condom and Priest.
Oh,
Is it?
that would be true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Storyline's already there.
It is?
Not really, but it's the only other faction.
Yeah. See, I was gonna ask you, is there somebody that you've seen? I mean, listen, if they're gonna break up Montez Ford and Dawkins, that's out.
Yeah. That was who I
So-
wanted to, in all
And-
honesty, if
Yes.
they
Who
weren't
else?
doing this Montez Ford thing.
Who else, man?
I mean, Street
That's
Profits
why-
were my number one for that. Or New Day comes back.
I was about to.
Oh yeah, New
Damn it.
Day.
Damn
New
you!
Day is
They
Good
just dropped the
call.
titles in
Damn you.
NXT. Beat you to it there. Acknowledge me.
You know what's funny? And I mentioned it in the group chat, and I completely forgot about it.
That's got to be the move, right? It's got to be
Yeah.
New Day.
Wow, that's a good
day.
I mean, listen,
I just have a weird feeling they're just gonna keep pushing Condom.
Well, they have to. No.
I mean, they're going to.
They have to. They're
going
to because
to.
they're so invested.
Like it.
Yeah,
They're
they have
so
to.
invested.
But he's a joke, and everybody knows that he's a joke. Like that's the thing. That's the angle, right? Is that like he's playing it up like he's this, like he did Hard Time, and everybody's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I gotta share this with you guys. Obviously, I think we're all in a lot of groups, a lot of blogging groups and stuff like that, because we like to see what's out there and see people's opinions, and a lot of it's wild, right? But I think we're in it for that. So I'm coming across a wrestling group, and if it was a good one, I'd give the name so people could check it out. But this is how fucking absurd this group is, okay? This guy writes a whole story, all right? And this dumb idiot writes, Condom better get a push soon or the WWE is going to miss out on an elite villain. Now, first of all, there's few times in my life. No, bro. He wrote a whole thing. Going on and on. Now, I never comment. I'm as serious as a fucking heart attack. I never comment on things in other rooms. And there's people.
I can't hear you right now.
This is ridiculous. There's people bashing him. I never comment. I literally just wrote, "You're fucking dumb. Shut up." That's all I wrote. I left the group. I said, I can't be a part of something like this. He wrote a story about how the WWE needs to give him a belt.
Oh my God, bro.
Or they're going to miss out on an elite villain. And I'm just thinking to myself, now, first of all, I was thinking, kids, drugs are bad. Okay. That's one.
To say the least, yeah.
That's a big one. Drugs are bad. Number two, I'm like, man, what would give this person the idea that watching what we watch, we're not watching a different show. He sounds good, looks good, and acts good. I haven't seen a match that he has successfully done anything in that would make me feel like I want to even watch him wrestle. Take out a belt. I don't even want to watch him wrestle. Now I got to look at this fucking asshole with a teardrop on his face, pretending to be a con. And I got to hear him talk on the mic. And if I hear him say mommy one more time,
oh my God,
I'm going to snap, bro. I read it. I read the story and I wanted to not read it, but you know how sometimes, like, you know how when a horror movie comes on and it's late at night and you want to turn it off, but you're like, because you just want to see what happens. That's how it was through Saw. I was like, I can't watch this, but like I had to see what happened, but it fucked me up. And I'm like, God, why'd I watch it? I read the story, like, I can't stop reading this. And I literally told the guy, shut the fuck up. You're an idiot. And I left the page. So I wrote. That's it. I was out on it. That's all I wrote. Because I didn't know what else to say. I didn't know. And I'm like, there's a person out there. And this leads me to believe there's somebody out there for everybody. Boys, there's somebody out there for everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If Condom can have this guy who loves him this much and needs to see him with a belt, you will always find true love. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And on that note, I think we're gonna end it right here.
That's it.
Oh man,
I don't see a better way of ending this podcast than that.
Yep, boys. Remember, if it's not Roman, it's nobody. Thank you.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Your next champion. Boys, everybody, make sure you guys like and subscribe everything on GGen. Follow us, share, tell your friends, tell your daughters, your sons, your cousins, your uncles, your nephews, your nieces. Tell everybody about us. Get the word out. We are doing big things over here. A lot of stuff coming your way. A lot of content coming your way. Big things coming. Gaming, wrestling, comics, movies, TV shows, trivia challenges. We do everything here at GGen. Make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe. We love you all. Say what's up to us in the comments. Let us know what you thought about everything. Hit that notification button. For me, Zuplex City, the Oversell Podcast. My boys here, Scythex and the Captain. We out of here. Good night, buddy.
We out.
Acknowledge me.